Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is Cheryl with She Knows. I'm a former bodybuilder and a two-time stroke survivor. Make sure you watch this video all the way through. I want to make sure my video gets pushed out to all the stroke warriors who are looking to heal themselves mentally, spiritually, and physically. My videos are based on my experience, and they are also here to help you have more inspiration in your journey of healing as a stroke survivor. We can do this, guys. We can do it. We made it to the other side. Let's go thrive together. Hey, y'all, what's going on? I want to share something with you all. What transpired today? I went to the doctor today, went to the neurologist. Neurologist is the one that studies the brain, studies the activity of the brain. Y'all, when I tell y'all I'm sick of these doctors, I'm so sick of these doctors. Now, I'm okay with using doctors for specialties when it's necessary to do so. I do, well, I'm not going to say that I don't believe in them, but I'm just sick of them because they subscribe to this sick care system. It's not a health care system. It's a sick care system. Okay. So let me tell you what happened with me today, y'all. So as you all know, I had 2 strokes 2 years ago. And one of the issues that I had previously, and I had it for over a year and a half. And let's see, let me turn this TV off. And a lot of times, stroke survivors suffer in silence with a lot of things that they're embarrassed to talk about or that they don't feel it's necessary to tell anybody. But people go through things that they don't want to tell anybody about. So what one of the things that I suffer with or that happened with me was there were several things. There was speech. There was my speech, as you hear me stuttering a little bit now. And my voice tends to kind of gargle. It sounds like I'm gargling a little bit when I talk. You know, if I talk too long or talk too hard, my blood pressure shoot up. Um, I still have left side weakness, you know, meaning my arm is still weak, my hand is still weak. And I do my therapy that I do at home, you know, myself. I'm not a professional. I just use my skills of what I had when I was bodybuilding to help rehab myself. But I'm not a professional in this area. I just utilize things that I believe that will help me out in the area that I knew. Because even when you go to therapy, outcare therapy, outpatient therapy, you still have to do the work at home. So I did what they did with me at the therapist, and then I would come home and do my own thing. But let me share with you the reason why I went to the neurologist today. I had called my PCP. My PCP is my primary care provider who monitors everything that's going on, prescribe medications, make referrals, and just keep tab of what's going on with me until I'm able to see a specialist. But at this point, I don't need a specialist, okay, because I'm 2 years post-stroke recovery, okay? And saliva is another thing in my mouth that I struggle with. And with when I went to neurologist, I went because I told my PCP, my primary care provider, what can be done about someone that had incontinence. So in case those of you that don't know, incontinence is when someone either urines on themselves or poops on themselves. Well, I never pooped on myself, but because of the stroke, there are a lot of things that happen. It could cause incontinence. It could cause brain fog. You could lose your eyesight. You can lose the ability in your muscles to do what you used to do, like hold saliva in your mouth or even swallow. So every now and then I stop, gather myself. I may swallow, may come. That was part of the stroke. Some things are harder to recover or to heal than other areas, like the foot, the arm, the ankle, the hand. They're the last thing to recover. You know, the leg, they're much longer to recover and takes a long time to do that. And a lot of times you have to get these things done in advance or in the early stages of your rehab. And I did do that. I did that. And I got frozen shoulder, all that. I got a whole bunch of stuff. But let me tell you guys, let me tell you this. I'm so sick of these damn doctors. I don't know what to do. I went to the doctor to inquire about the incontinence because it took 6 months to get the freaking appointment in the first doggone place. 6 months, y'all. By the time I go see the doctor today, I've cured what I was trying to get help with. I used to wear diapers. I'm gonna keep it real, y'all. I know that might be TMI, but I used to wear diapers because I couldn't get to the bathroom in time enough. But I wasn't a person that was walking around peeing on myself or urinating on myself. I just couldn't make it to the bathroom in time enough, so I would have an accident. Or if I'm out in public, let's say I drink some water before I left, or I drink water or I have to use the bathroom a little later, I couldn't get to the bathroom in time enough. Well, one, I can't walk fast, so therefore, my muscles, my pelvic muscles, or my pelvic floor wasn't strong enough to hold the urine. So I had to start all over again. Talk to some of my other stroke survivors because that's something that you have to admit that you had. It's embarrassing. It's things that you have, that goes on. It's probably some things that other stroke survivors have going on that they don't talk about as well. And some people they don't have problems at all. They didn't, like, I talked to a lot of men. Men didn't have this problem. A couple of women that I knew had the problem, but not many. So I asked them, how did they fix that problem? They said, that's a neurological thing. You need to go see your neurologist or just train yourself. You have to really train yourself all over again, as if you were a child, to go and use the bathroom. When you feel it, get up and go, or just sit on a toilet and use the bathroom, right? Had to bring in some light, guys, because it was getting dark. I'm making this video when it's getting dark. Excuse me. Well, needless to say, because, like I said earlier, because it took them so long to get me the appointment, I cured myself. I pretty much cured myself. So I just retrained myself as if you're a child, to go back to the bathroom, because even though it's been 2 years, it's still ongoing healing. It's still a brain thing. But when I get to the doctor and I talk to the neurologist, which was the initial thing to talk about incontinence, she started asking me all these questions, checking my eyes and, doing the pen situation and, checking my walk and everything. She said, and, I told her my speech is still not all the way there. She said, actually, you sound good compared to a lot of people, which is fine. I don't sound good to me. I mean, I may be good compared to other people, but I'm not comparing myself to other people. And I've heard other people talk, and there are some issues that they still have going on. And I do too. I still have some cognitive issues, some speech issues. I find myself repeating myself. I find myself trying to catch saliva out of my mouth when I talk. So I'm very cautious of certain things that I do. But I told her that, lately, and I told my daughter this too, lately I've been feeling very, very emotional. So she asked me, was I feeling depressed? I said, I don't really want to call it depressed because I do a lot of things to make sure I put myself in a, excuse me, y'all, something sticking me. Oh, feather. It was a feather with the sharp thing here on the end here sticking me. Anyway, that happens too. I'll get off track, I'll start talking, and I'll gear over to another conversation. But something was sticking me, so I had to see what that was. So where was I? So she started asking me questions, are you feeling depressed? I said, I started thinking about things, but I personally don't call it depression. It may be an acute sign of depression, but I don't, I'm not trying to be the strong black woman, that I've said to you guys before, but occasionally I would just get emotional. I could watch a commercial, and if it's my voice starts crackling up like I'm doing now, I could watch a commercial and I'll tear up. I went to go see the movie Michael, and I teared up. I cried in the show because I grew up on Michael. Had to take a break and come back to it. I grew up on Michael, so it reminded me of a lot of things. When I get emotional, as you hear my voice, y'all hear that? That happens when I get emotional, or if I talk about something that I'm passionate about, or that I like, or that I want to get a point across. My voice locks up. My voice box locks up. And previously, I know I couldn't talk. I felt like I didn't have a voice before. I couldn't voice myself. I couldn't gather my thoughts together. So I would write things down. Well, when I get to the doctor, my blood pressure was super high for some reason. Now, guys, I have not taken blood pressure pills. Now, I've been monitor, monitoring my blood pressure from January all the way up to now. And I can count on maybe two hands how many times I've taken my blood pressure pill. And it's a 60 milligram nifedipine, slow acting, which means if I take it at night, it's slow acting, it'll carry over to the next day. So for some reason, my blood pressure was extremely high. It was like 152 or 154. And one thing that I know that causes my blood pressure to go up is when I'm talking or having a conversation and I'm trying to get my point out, or if someone interrupts me when I'm talking, and as I'm trying to talk, I can't really get it out, like you're not hearing me. So that causes my blood pressure to go up. And if it does, I'll just stop. If I need to pause this video and come back, I'll do that as well. If I feel like I'm getting a headache, or if I feel like it's too much strain on me, I'll stop and I'll come back. So if I feel that way, um, well, no, she was telling me that my blood pressure was too high, and because blood pressure is part of the stroke, cholesterol, diabetes, smoking, drinking, all that. I said, well, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't know any of those things. I never have. I never drank and I never smoked. So she said, but your blood pressure is really, really high. I said, I get that. So I showed her all the readings of my blood pressure. I forgot to bring my book, but I usually bring my book that I keep track of my blood pressure, um, bring it to my PCP. I didn't bring it to the neurologist because she doesn't prescribe my medication for me. She doesn't make a recommendation for my medication for me. So I showed her how my blood pressure has been in the normal range, 120 over 70 or 120 over 80, 125 over 75, and so on and so forth. I'll insert some pictures here of what some of my blood pressure readings have been. So as I'm showing her my blood pressure readings, she said, well, that's a huge difference from what it usually is to what it is now. I said, well, it could be because I'm nervous. I'm in a doctor's office, I'm nervous. And before that, I just had a full on conversation with her medical assistant. I mean, if I take my blood pressure right now, it probably be, well, it's not going to be high because I took my blood pressure pill this morning, this earlier today. I just had a full blown conversation with her medical assistant. So that means I'm having a conversation. You take my blood pressure, it's going to be high. It's going to be high. And if I'm cold, if I get too hot, yeah, if I'm cold, too hot, or if I have a strenuous conversation. Well, I had a phone call come in, guys. So if I have a strenuous conversation, that'll put a little strain on me. So I have to be careful of the conversations that I have. And if I have a conversation, be careful of the conversations that I'm having in terms of what I'm talking about. Don't talk about something that's going to cause you to get stressed. Don't do that. Okay. But Um, so then we get to, me talk, she was asking me, because I told her I've been very, very, very emotional lately. She asked me, was I depressed? No, I'm not depressed. No, I'm not. I'm just sitting here thinking about a few things. Mainly, like I said, I can watch a commercial and I get emotional. I can have a conversation with somebody that I'm glad to have a conversation with, and I'll get emotional. I watched the Michael movie, I'll get emotional. I mean, the stroke actually does that. It does certain things to you, it does certain things to your emotions. It can send you into depression, it could cause you to be extremely emotional. She wanted me, she said, well, do you need therapy? Because I told her I lost my mother, I lost two brothers, my mother, and my father, all within a short period of time. And she said, well, do you need grief therapy? I mean, I could use therapy, but the last person I was with, I really didn't connect with that person. You really have to, I listen, I don't mean to put, you know, bring race into this or anything like that, but I believe I need to talk to someone that can relate to me. I need to talk to someone that can relate to me as a black woman. They can't say specifically, okay, go to this person here. I have to either do my own research and see if they accept my insurance or pay for it out of pocket. I know there's some resources out there like BetterHelp or some other places, but I was talking to someone. I don't know if they could relate to where I'm coming from in the first place, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't talk to that last therapist. I went to the sessions that the insurance paid for, and that was it. I didn't even try to do any of the work because I felt early on, I tried to give it a chance. I felt early on that he wasn't the one for me. So she said, well, we do have medication that we can prescribe you. I was like, I'm not taking no more medication, ma'am, ma'am, ma'am. I'm not taking no more medication. She said, okay, we can go the non-medication therapy way. I understand that you don't want to do that. I said, I'm not going to keep taking this medication. And then we talked about the incontinence. She said, well, there's something that you can take that can help you. It's something about that can help you with the contraction of the muscle to help use the bath, not use the bathroom on yourself. I said, more medication? I said, ma'am, I'm not taking no more medication. I'm not. I came to you because my PCP referred you to me because she said I need to see a neurologist about the incontinence part, but it's not as severe as she said. She doesn't know what type of stroke that I had, how severe it was. I said I had an ischemic stroke and multiple strokes, many strokes on the right side of my brain, causing me to be left side flaccid. And she said, well, you also could have reached a plateau with this, and this could be it. This could be for the rest of your life. I said, okay, hold on. I'm not going to take any more medication. And she did mention that maybe I should see an OBGY, what is it? Obstetrician or gynecologist to see if I can do a pelvic floor test. And then she said, oh, maybe you can do some Kegels. I didn't have to come to her for that. I can do Kegels. And you know what I'm saying? She wanted to prescribe me some medication for depression. She doesn't even diagnose me as that. She just said, are you depressed? Medication. We'll give you some medication. Oh, you have an incontinence? We're gonna give you some ma'am, I'm not doing that. Nor am I gonna continue this medication that I'm on. I'm not. Because the medication that I'm on, I'm looking at my previous records in terms of my stuff that I've been keeping track of. She said, well, you got to keep taking the medication to monitor it and progress it because that's a big jump. And it's jumping because it's not being maintained. So you want me to keep taking the medication, even though my blood pressure is not high. She said, yeah, that'll maintain. Ma'am, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Why would I take medication that I don't need to? She said, because that maintains it. No, I'm not doing that. I'm taking medication that I don't need to take it. I can do that holistically. I said, let me ask you a question. What do you think about the HBOT? let me tell you what H-bot is. H-bot is, okay, another feather, guys. Another feather. Another feather. H-bot is HBOT, hyperbaric oxygen chamber or therapy. And that helps you with the oxygen in your brain, the oxygen in your cells, the oxygen in your entire body. And that does help you. She told, now let me tell you what she told me. I don't want you spending your money on stuff like that because we don't know if that'll work or not. I said, well, it doesn't hurt to try it. It's not going to do any damage to me if I try it. She said, yeah, but you have to really catch that at the early on stage. So you mean to tell me somebody who hasn't had a stroke, that wouldn't be beneficial to them? I'm past my stroke. I'm 2 years past it. She said in this late stage, she doesn't recommend me spending money on that. I said, you don't even have the data that shows that it does work or it doesn't work. So why would you tell me not to do it? Because that could help me. When she did that, y'all, I was hot. I had a hoodie on because the hospital area, the clinic area was cold. I had a hoodie on. I was in that place. I was boiling. I was hot. Why would you tell me not to do something? You didn't tell me not to take this medication. You're not telling me not to do my own thing with my therapy. You want to immediately prescribe me some medication? Ma'am, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. What I'm going to do, I am going to try the hyperbaric oxygen therapy. I am going to try that. It is expensive, y'all. It's expensive. Man, when I tell you that woman pissed me off so bad, I told my daughter, just come on, let's go. I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. She always made me so mad that like I felt like my arm was tightening up. I said, whoop, whoop, stop. Control the controllables. She didn't tell you couldn't do it. She only recommended it because she doesn't know it's gonna work. She doesn't know. She also only recommended because she didn't want me spending my money. You already getting my money. I had to pay a copay before I came in here. So y'all do your own research, advocate for your own health. Don't let these doctors tell you something they have no history, no recollection, no studies on. They haven't even studied the studies of the hyperbaric oxygen chamber because I believe they know it works. She's a neurologist, so I know she knows it works. At any rate, let me stop with this video because I'm going to get myself upset. This is the type of stuff that makes my voice crackles a little bit. And this is the type of stuff that causes my blood pressure to go up. But I'm done. I'm done with it. Advocate for your own health, guys.